Brown and Corey Macklin here at ringside. We're ready with another day of USWA Championship Wrestling.
Oh, we're ready, Dave, and we can call this main event day today. Opening bout, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Brian Christopher. 1 versus 1 fall, 15 minutes in time right here today. Then you'll see Jeff Jarrett and Doug Gilbert in another bout. Another great bout here today. Miss Texas, she's going to be in the ring today. Oh, when do you see her opponent scheduled? And not only that, the hip-hop team. We've been telling you about them. No, we won't hear them sing today, but we'll see them wrestle. PG-13, they're here today.
Got quite a day coming up here. That opening match. Not going to waste any time. Eddie Gilbert and Brian Christopher. That could be a main event in any arena in the country.
Yes,
you got it right here today. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We've had this situation I think most wrestling fans are aware of the last few weeks between Ed and Doug Gilbert. It's a situation that's a little bit unusual. I mean, you know, brothers and sisters have trouble from time to time. Usually doesn't go to this extent, but take a look at some of the things that have happened just in the last couple of weeks.
Is me and Eddie have had a few problems. Yes, Eddie's older than me, and when I was smaller than him, he beat me up a lot, Dave. He beat me around, kicked me around. But when I was about 18 years old, I started growing. When he was about 18, he quit growing. Now, I'm still the younger brother, but I'm not the smaller brother. So what I'm saying, Dave, Eddie's got a problem. He's got this disease. You know what I mean? Have you heard about it? It's where your mouth runs off before your brain can think about what you're saying. I'll tell you one thing. The next time something happens and my brother gets just a little bit late, Dave Brown, I'm going to slap him. I'm going to slap him real hard like my dad should have many years ago. Let me just sum something up here for these people, everybody watching. There's a problem with you. There's a problem, a little pea brain you got in your head. You have a little problem called, listen to me. You have a little problem, and it's called jealousy, okay? I'm jealous. Yes, you are, and I'll tell you why. You're the king of wrestling, I'm the king of rock, and I'm jealous, right? You're not the king of anything, and shut up! Like two brothers should, all right? So come on, let's just go.
Eddie wanted to discuss it, and Doug nailed him from behind here.
Come on, Doug. Boy, I'm stunned.
I'm telling you, you're the king of wrestling. You're the king of wrestling. You're nothing. You're garbage. I talked to my mother, and she said, son, I didn't bring you and Eddie up to be fighting each other. I said, no, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm real sorry about that. And I said, I told him I didn't even want to wrestle him again, but it's done booked, and I've got to wrestle. But I told my mother, Dave, I said, I will never draw my fist back at my brother ever again. I would never do that. And see, my brother right now, Dave, a lot of people don't know, he's still not even talking to me. But that's why I asked you for a minute out here this morning, because I do want to tell him, Dave, he will always be my brother, and I do love him.
Here comes Doug. Maybe there's some help for him as he heads for his brother.
What in the world is Doug Gilbert doing?
Hey, I got friends. I'm the king of rock. I don't apologize to nobody. Yes, I said I loved him, but you got to beat some sense into some people's head. You up?
Oh, come on, Doug. Doug Gilbert cheering on.
Well, that's a word from Doug Gilbert there. Here comes Eddie right here. Eddie tried to talk to Doug at one point in there, and it didn't work out too well. Eddie, I'm sure you saw all of that, and obviously you're still not in too good a mood about it.
Well, Dave, this has been a very, very strange situation for me since the beginning. I know a lot of people probably said to you, a lot of people have said to me, to everyone around here, that it's a little different. Two brothers fighting each other, especially in the wrestling business. You don't ever hear of that. Well, then I got to thinking about this past week a little bit. Well, it's really not anything different. Because if we think back about a little bit, and it goes back to the Bible. Remember Cain and Abel? They fought each other, and it was actually over jealousy. And they fought to the death. Well, I want to come out here today, and I want to tell my story about Doug Gilbert. I want to tell the story that hasn't been told. I want to tell everyone here what a goof my brother has been all of his life. See, I remember when I was a little younger, and Doug was a little kid. I remember staying in the house one day, and me and my mom and dad and sister in there, and all of a sudden we heard this racket, "Come watch me, come watch me." Well, we come running outside the house. We run around the back of the house, look up on top of the house, and there's Doug standing up there with this big, long red cape on. He says, "I'm Superman." I said, "Doug, don't, you can't fly." He said, "Yes, I can." And he jumped off, and Doug didn't fly. Doug went, boom, straight on his head. Then, a couple weeks later, I remember going down in the woods, walking down through there. All of a sudden, I hear this racket up in a tree. Well, it's Doug again. And now he's got him a little towel wrapped around his body down here, and he's going, "Oh!" He says, "I'm Tarzan, King of the Apes." And he grabs us a little, it wasn't even a vine, it was just, I don't even know what it was, hooked onto the tree, and he says, "Watch me swing." And he swung. But Doug didn't make it. Doug went, boom. Once again, right down on his head. Well, when we was growing up, always Doug, just like any younger brother, I guess, sometimes during your life, wants to test you, wants to challenge his older brother. And Doug did that when he was a kid. Doug said, "Let me try you, let me try you. Let's have a wrestling match down here in the den on the carpet." And we would, and I'd wrestle around with him, and I'd say, "Come on, leave me alone." No, come on, I can beat you. I know I can. I said, "No, leave me alone." And he'd keep on, Dave, that sooner or later I'd have to really bear down on him, and I'd have to beat him. And I'd have to make him say I give or I quit. Then Doug would be okay for about 2 or 3 months or so. Then he'd come back again, Eddie, let me try you again. I can do it, I know I can. I'd have to do it again. Well, Doug, I hope you're listening back there. I hope my family's listening, and I want all these people here and everyone at home to listen. It's time to bear down again. The last few weeks, I've been in the ring with Doug. I've stood back just like I did those weeks whenever I didn't bear down on him. He's tried to get me to hit him. I haven't used my fist on him. And Dave, just like you and the rest of these people know, I am not in any popularity contest. I don't care whether people like me or don't like me. I don't care who I have to wrestle. But when it came to my brother, I didn't want to fight him. Well, Doug, this week, you, my friend, you, my brother, you are going to get the butt kicking in your life, because I am going to step in the ring with you, and I'm going to teach you a lesson, because you were the youngest and the spoilest brat in our family that our dad and mom should have done to you a long time ago, brother. And whatever I have to do, if I have to light you up like a Christmas tree, I will. Just ask anybody.
Hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert. What he's going to do with Doug, he's got a tough match coming up right here. And now just arriving, Brian Christopher. He's got Bert Prentice behind him. He's going to be in his corner. Brian wearing a bandage over his eye due to a situation which occurred a few days ago. He found everything sort of warm himself there, I think.
Yeah, he's over in the crowd there. Running his mouth as usual.
Brian needs to probably stay away from that area. He's not the most popular wrestler that ever walked over around the crowd there, and I think the crowd just let him know that. He has 2 belts. He has the Southern Heavyweight belt. He has the Texas Championship. Boy, he's held that Texas Championship for a long, long time. And except for a brief period, he's had that Southern title for quite a while, too. He never lacks for confidence. Let me tell you that. He's going against a tough one here today. The veteran, hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert, a man who's wrestled all over the world. And as he said a few minutes ago, he's not going to back up from his brother, and he's sure not going to back up from Brian Christopher either. Referee Paul Neighbors has signaled for the bell. And Corey, we're underway. This should be a good one.
Yes, sir, Dave. We are underway with a big day in store for USWA Championship Wrestling. This is opening bout of the day today. Hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert and Brian Christopher. And as you stated earlier, Dave, this is the main event anyway. Christopher and Gilbert.
Yeah, where's he at?
Brian was saying something about are you sure you want to go against the champion? And Eddie said, yeah, where is he? And now Brian says, hey, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Let's shake hands, let's be friends. I don't think that trick's going to work.
Puts his hand out. Eddie shakes his hand, yeah.
Yeah, Eddie does shake his hand, and Brian didn't try to nail him with a fist either. There's a surprise. Let me tell you, I thought Brian would try to smack him with his left fist while he was shaking hands with him, but, well, good. That's a good indication that we're off to a good match here.
Indeed, Eddie Gilbert and Brian Christopher. Christopher backs him up against the turnbuckle. Oh, he acted like he was going to give him a clean break. There's the hot stuff strut from Eddie Gilbert. Brian Christopher swung after him, and nobody home, though.
Now Eddie says, come on, let's shake hands again. Brian says, oh, no, you embarrassed me. I'm not going to shake hands.
Brian Christopher tangles up with Eddie Gilbert. Hot stuff backs him up against the turnbuckle. That'll be a break for Christopher in there, and Eddie Gilbert, he nailed him, boy, right on the nose. He nails Brian Christopher. Hey, look at Christopher, goes over and chows referee Paul Neighbors in there, complaining to Paul, telling him, hey, tell him to watch the fist. He better watch shoving referee Paul Neighbors in there, too.
Yeah, that bandaged area is mighty tender, and Christopher was real upset with the referee for not protecting that area better, not forcing Eddie to leave it alone there. You know, you step into the wrestling ring, you take the chances there in that situation, Brian.
Whoa, Gilbert! Ducks a couple of big right swings from Brian Christopher, goes under both of them and nails Christopher.
Brian hanging on to that bandaged area of his face. He took a couple of what we used to call haymaker swings, where you just rear back and give it all you got, and he missed on both of them. Eddie Gilbert came up, and he didn't miss.
Yeah, one of those swings from way back home. Boy, he swung after Eddie Gilbert with it. Eddie got out of the way in time. Good thing he did, too. Boy, those would have took him down quickly. Eddie Gilbert, hot stuff. He goes up with Brian Christopher. Christopher says he's too sexy.
In his own mind, anyway.
Nags Eddie Gilbert up against the rope.
Yeah, he had his hair. He was pulling his hair.
Yeah, Eddie goes under again, comes back under. Christopher turns around and meets a big right hand from hot stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Christopher never learns, does he?
Fans on Christopher.
They got it, crybaby, crybaby. Yeah, there he goes, complaining. Ooh, Eddie says, oh, you scare me, Brian.
Gilbert backs Christopher up against the turnbuckle. Referee Paul Neighbors gives him the break, and look at Christopher. Comes out with a big flying forearm in there.
Now, Christopher used the referee to set Eddie Gilbert up for that one.
Yeah, he came right over the top of referee Paul Neighbors. Sets Gilbert up for that reverse neck breaker. He's got Eddie covered. 1, 2. Eddie kicks out at 2. Fans behind Gilbert as Christopher whips him into the ropes. Hot stuff comes on. What a big right hand. Sends Christopher down and into the ropes. Christopher comes on. Good backflip from Eddie Gilbert. And is Eddie Gilbert holding his own? It looked like it until Christopher comes off. What a right hand. And boy, he goes to work on hot stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Good move.
Good move from Eddie to slingshot him off the rope. Oh boy. A 1 count, and Doug Gilbert comes and jumps in the thing. Would you believe it? Gilbert jumping on his brother Eddie Gilbert.
Looked like Eddie had Brian Christopher set up for the win there. Look at Doug Gilbert pounding Eddie Gilbert. I'm sure he heard what Eddie had to say a few moments ago and didn't take kindly to it. And now it's 2 against 1. Bert Prentice over here celebrating.
Yeah, Prentice, you ought to get him out of there. Doug Gilbert and Brian Christopher double teaming. Hot stuff Eddie Gilbert in there. And Doug, boy, makes you think he's just gone berserk. Let me tell you.
They got him tied up in a rope.
Hey, Dad, I'm sitting out here listening to people talking about teaching me something. Daddy, I can sing, I can dance. Look at it. You can't teach somebody something that knows everything. I said I'm the king of rock and roll, and that's what I am. He don't look real tough right now, does he, Dave? Hey. Oh, Jeff, stick your nose into my business, and you'll get your brains beat out too, punk. Look at him, Dave. It looks real good, don't it?
They had him tied up over in the ropes over there at 2 against 1.
He's about to kill Jeff Jarrett, Dave. Man, look at this. He's about to...
Hey, boy! Eddie Gilbert just tackled Dog over here. Got him on the floor. Boy, Eddie Gilbert came from nowhere, Dave.
He got loose from the ropes, and all of a sudden I looked up, and here's Eddie Gilbert flying through the air at Doug Gilbert. Here's Eddie trying to get them separated. Jeff is over to help out. We'll get them apart. We'll be back with more from the USWA. You stay with us. Well, I tell you what, just a few days ago, there was the arrival of the narcissist Lex Luger at the Mid-South Coliseum, team with Brian Christopher going against Jarrett and Lawler.
Great bout, let me tell you.
Just take a look at some of the highlights down toward the end of the match. Watch this.
Christopher whips Jeff into the rope. Jarrett leaps over, comes back under again, sets. And a big kick from Jeff Jarrett. Just kind of shoved Christopher down that time. Jeff over trying to get tag on Lawler. Christopher gets a tag on Luger. And Jarrett tags the king. Strap comes down. And look at Jerry Lawler. Lefts and rights that send Luger down. Now it's Christopher. Everybody's in there. Jarrett whips Christopher into the rope. Picks him up and drops him down face first. What a move from Jeff Jarrett. Slams Christopher into the turnbuckle. Hey, Jerry Lawler's got Lex Luger, and he Paul draws the narcissist. Lawler, Paul draws Luger over there, and the king says, wait just 1 minute, though. Lawler looks like he may have fire in there. Trying to tell Luger, hey, oh boy, come on, 23-50 rather. The king, Jerry Lawler, burns Brian Christopher in there as Lex Luger tried to get out of the way. Oh boy, and it all breaks loose. Bruise Brothers, Ron and Don Harris jump on Lawler and Jarrett, along with Lex Luger, and they jump on downtown Bruno too. Oh boy, they got Bruno laid out. Now Bruno with, oh no, look at it. Hey, Ron and Don Harris, the Bruise Brothers, with that chair, nailing away on downtown Bruno with it. Samples and all of them in here. Boy, we got to get this kind of stuff broke up. Bruise Brothers, Ron and Don Harris, Bert Prentice and Mike Samples.
Well, Jeff Jarrett and downtown Bruno have joined me here just as we wrap up the highlights of that.
What a great crowd we got today. They are fired up today. You know, Dave, when I was watching that tape, the first thing I thought when it came to my mind, I thought of the song Great Balls of Fire. And Brian Christopher, you know how that feels. But as the tape went along, Brian, you know, it seems like I thought of that song, Friends in Low Places by Garth Brooks. Yeah, it's a great song, but Brian Christopher thinks he's so real big and bad the last couple of weeks because he's been hanging around Howard Finkel. And ever since he met Howard, he's got friends like Doink the Clown. He wants to bring in Lex Luger, and the list keeps going on. And now he's got the Harris brothers. And Brian thinks I've heard him say that he thinks this is going to be the greatest six-man tag team that he's ever put together because he's the brains and the Harris brothers are the brawn. Well, Brian Christopher, I am so sick and tired. Like I said last week, I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired of talking about you. Now, it's no news that I'm mad at you, Brian, and it's no news that Jerry Lawler is mad at you, Brian.
Speaking of that, We've got Jerry Lawler sending an interview. So
well, let's listen to that right now.
Right
the
here,
King will have some good words.
Yeah, listen to this.
I want to say a few words to Ron and Don Harris. I don't know if you guys realize it or not, but you've bought yourself some big problems. You know, I'm standing beside a big face right here, but and you are going to think that this man's face is this big that you're going to have to get in the ring with Monday night. Because you see, I'm sure that when you thought you'd stick your nose into mine and Jeff's business last week, come in there and push around a little guy like Downtown Bruno, I'm sure that made you guys feel like you were big and tough. But you know what? Other people got friends too. Downtown Bruno got on the phone and called his big friend. That's right, the Giant Gonzalez. Now, when I say big, I am talking big. I'm talking bigger than Andre the Giant, who was 7 feet 4 inches tall. Well, this Giant Gonzalez is 8 feet tall. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm sure you guys think, oh, hey, we're the biggest thing in the USWA, and right now you may be, because I understand you're about 6'7". But 8 feet tall is what I'm talking. The Giant Gonzalez is 8 feet tall, and when he wraps those big hands around your little scrawny necks, he's going to squeeze them till your eyeballs pop out. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Because we were just about this far away from completely doing away with the punk Brian Christopher and Lex Luger until you guys interfered. Well, you won't be doing any more interfering after this week, I can assure you. And whenever you see Downtown Bruno, you will hightail it the other way as quick as you can. And now as for you, Brian Christopher, it seems like you always want to try to run and hide behind somebody. Now you think you're going to hide behind the Twin Towers. You think they're real big, and you'll be able to scrunch way down and peek around and keep them real occupied and keep everybody not being able to get to you. Well, I can tell you this. It's not going to work, because we're going to get you. The Giant Gonzalez is going to take care of both of the Harris brothers. And that's going to just leave you, Brian Christopher, for me and Jeff. And this Monday night, if you think last week was hot, you wait till this Monday night. We got some big, big plans for you, punk.
Well, there's a word.
And the King can always back up what he says. So, Brian, like I said earlier, it's no news that I'm mad at you, and it's no new news that Jerry Lawler's mad at you. But what is new news is that Downtown Bruno, you know him, he'll go to any depths to get the job done. And Bruno, tell him what kind of job you're going to get done.
Well, it's just like this. Like Jeff said, Brian Christopher has some friends in low places. But you see, Dave, I got some friends in high places. I mean, way up there high. I mean, where you got to put on a neck brace. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to try to get the concession for neck braces at the Mid-South Coliseum. Everybody's going to be looking up. But particularly when Jeff gets a hold of one of those goofy Harris brothers, and when the Kingfish gets a hold of the other one, that leaves the Giant Gonzalez to get hold of that clown Brian Christopher. And believe me, when he gets hold of him, there won't be nothing left but a dark spot on the mat, Dave. And you know why? Because the Giant Gonzalez has a hand bigger than my whole body. The man wears a size 24 boot. This man is over 8 foot tall, and he happens to be a real good friend of Downtown Bruno's. I promise you this. There won't be nothing left of Brian Christopher, and I'm planning on leaving that Coliseum and going back home to Walls, Mississippi, and telling everybody that they don't have to look at Brian Christopher anymore. And you know why? Because it's like Mama says.
It bees that way sometime. we got to look at the Giant, don't we, Dave?
I think we do right here. You want to take a look at him? Just tell me his name and let him roll the tape.
The Giant Gonzalez.
Well, Corey, comes that time of the program where you have to do some things that you don't necessarily want to do, and this is one of those times right here. It's an interview segment in which we provide the opportunity for Brian Christopher and Bert Prentice, and here they come right here. Christopher doesn't look happy at all with that bandage, and of course Eddie Gilbert was working him over pretty good earlier. Bert?
You know, you bring out that tape of the Giant Gonzalez like that's some big deal. Everybody wants to tell. Well, of course he's going to do that to a flunky like The Undertaker. But do you understand, Monday night,
You're not coming to Memphis to fight no Undertaker. You're coming to fight three of the meanest, most rotten human beings on God's green earth. And I guarantee you, when that giant gets in the ring Monday and sees these guys, I have a sneaking suspicion he's going to put his tail between his legs and run out of the building, if you know what I mean.
Well, I think you're absolutely wrong about that, but here's...
You know, Dave Brown, I find it real convenient that Jerry the King Lawler did not show up today. And Dave Brown, let me tell you why the King, Jerry Lawler, conveniently stayed at home. This right here is why Jerry Lawler is not here today. It's because last Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum, Jerry Lawler took a big fireball and threw it in my face. Me, of all people, you had to burn me. You know, Dave, I don't know if I will be permanently scarred from this. I don't know if the skin will ever grow back the way it was before. But Jerry Lawler, I showed up today. I'm standing here in living color. I didn't stay at home. And another thing, I've come looking for you. This past Thursday night, Dave Brown, Jerry Lawler was at the Pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee. And he had a wrestling match at the Pyramid. And I showed up there. And I got just a little smidgen of revenge. And now, Lawler and Jeff Jarrett have had to go out with downtown Bruno and bring in 8-foot-tall Giant Gonzalez because they know that I mean business. They're scared to death of me. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I got friends, too, and they're standing right here. We got 6'7" Ron Harris, and we have 6'7" Don Harris. And when you stack 6'7" on top of 6'7", you have more than an 8-foot-tall Giant Gonzalez. So you just come on down there and bring your giant, because I am not scared. And I have been dibbling in the little magic tricks this week, and things could get pretty hot down there at the Mid-South Coliseum, but not for me. For you, King Jerry Lawler, for you.
Well, Brian, don't...
Hold on just a minute. Jerry Lawler, downtown Bruno, Jeff Jarrett, you think you got something? You bringing in an 8-foot man. It's like this. You can look at me and you can look at my brother. We've been big men all our life. Everywhere we go, people stop. They look at us, they look up, and they take a step back, and they say, good God, them some big men. Bring in the 8-foot man. Stand him up against the two of us, and we'll just see how big and how bad and how nasty you are, Gonzalez.
Well, the word from the Harris brothers and Brian Christopher and Bert Prentice, yeah, they're big. There's no doubt about it. They're 6'7". Giant Gonzalez is 8 feet tall, and Brian Christopher just sort of sliding by the fact that Jeff Jarrett and Jerry Lawler are going to be there along with the Giant Gonzalez, too. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the entire card coming. And Bert Prentice said one thing that I have to agree with. He said that these are some of that's three of the meanest, nastiest people, and you know, they have no regard for the rules and all of that, and at least he was telling the truth about that part. Let's take a look at the entire card. Something interesting coming up here that we'll have more to say about a little bit later on. It's a first-round matches of a middleweight tournament, and there again we'll tell you more about this a little bit later on. But in the first-round matches, you got Danny Davis going against Wolfie D from PG-13. Then in another first-round match, you got the Master of Terror going against Chris Michaels. Then Aaron Hatchett will be going against Jamie Dundee, J.C. Ice. Then you got Miss Texas going against Leslie Bellinger. Those are all first-round matches in the tournament. That will be followed, of course, by semifinal match number 1 and semifinal match number 2. The winners of each of those matches will then advance to the finals of the middleweight tournament. And again, Eddie Marlin will tell us more about that tournament. It's going to be mighty interesting, let me tell you. And Eddie will fill us in a little bit later on. Grudge match comes up here.
Boy, the main event started right here.
You don't have to say too much about this one, especially if you have been with us during this entire program. You know that the bad feelings which have been going on for a number of weeks between Eddie and Doug Gilbert have continued here today. And I suppose to sum it up, the one thing that Eddie said, he said, you know, times when Doug was a kid, he kept picking at him till finally he had to bear down and beat him up, and then Doug would shape up for a while, and Eddie says it's time to bear down. Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. Then you got the Southern title at stake. Brian Christopher will be bringing the belt in. He'll have Bert Prentice in his corner, but he's going to be defending against a man who has held that belt himself.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett is going to look to take that belt from around the waist of Brian.
That ought to be a great match right here, especially if we can keep it 1 against 1 in the ring, Jeff against Brian Christopher. Then look out, Mr. Christopher might be considered a former Southern title holder very, very soon. Then, I get ready for this one. Moondogs going against the Bruise brothers, Ron and Don Harris. Now, the Harrises have Mike Samples in their corner. The Moondogs have Richard Lee. Richard Lee's hair will be at stake again, but so will Mike Samples. And look at this.
Yeah.
No time limit, no disqualification, no stopping the match. Looks to me like there's going to be a haircutting at the Mid-South Coliseum.
There's going to be in the official salon for the USWA a perfect cut on Raleigh LaGrange at 57-31. They're going to be there to do the honors for somebody Monday night.
Yeah, I know who the fans would like to see bald, even though he has said before we'll never see him bald. And talking about Mike Samples, of course. But it's his hair against Richard Lee's hair as these two teams go at each other. Yeah, titles don't make any difference in this particular case. It's become a matter of pride with the hair, especially for Mike Samples, I think. Main event of the night. Get ready for this one. Brian Christopher and the Bruise brothers. They're big. There's no doubt about it. Mike Samples and I guess Bert Prentice, too, will probably be over in that corner. But across the way, you got Downtown Bruno in the corner to begin with. That should be fun. But you got Lawler, Jarrett, and the giant Gonzalez, 8 feet tall. This man is huge. I noticed in the video that we ran just a few minutes ago, there was one time he was getting back in the ring. He doesn't go through the ropes. He just steps over the ropes, and it's an easy step for him, too. This guy is big. I don't think a lot of wrestling fans have seen him before. We saw the video of him a little bit earlier. This guy is awesome. The Giant Gonzalez will be here as partners with Jerry Lawler and Jeff Jarrett Monday night, 7:30 at the Mid-South Coliseum. We got more to go here. We'll be back with it in a moment. There's Jeff Jarrett in for his match against Dirty Doug Gilbert. Doug claiming to be the king of rock and roll here the last couple of weeks. And here's Jeff climbing in there. Dirty Doug still with a warm-up jacket on. Referee is in between them, and Kevin Christian points to Doug, says back to the corner, take off the warm-up jacket, and we are set to go with a one-fall, 15-minute time limit match. We had a good one a couple of minutes ago, and this one shaped up to be a pretty good one, too.
Indeed. Doug Gilbert and Jeff Jarrett. Jeff backs him up and whips Doug into the ropes. Ooh, Doug goes under. Oh, boy. Look at this.
Well, Doug has been doing that celebration thing here for the last few weeks.
He calls that a dance. Boy, if that's a dance.
No, I don't like that too much, Doug. And then it goes down on one knee, sort of that Elvis imitation after a couple of the karate kicks and stuff. But, you know, there was only one king of rock and roll, and it sure ain't Doug Gilbert.
I don't think it's close. Doug backed up against the turnbuckles by Jeff Jarrett. Reversal here. Whips Jeff in. Oh, Jeff comes off, and a big hip toss on him. And there he goes. Calls himself the king of rock and roll, Doug Gilbert. Gilbert standing in, and
look at Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff is just sort of standing there. I'm sure Jeff is thinking, what is wrong with him, you know?
My sentiments exactly. I feel the same way, Jeff.
I agree with you.
Doug backs him up against the turnbuckle. Look at him nail away on Jarrett.
You know, I think Eddie agrees with us, too. I think Eddie's kind of wondering what's wrong with Doug again.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're all left in limbo about Doug Gilbert. Boy, he is kind of flown off the handle, if you want to call it. Doug's going berserk around here. Jabs Jeff in his eyes there, that's Doug. Doug Gilbert slams down on Jeff Jarrett. Boy, what another great bout here today, let me tell you. USWA Championship Wrestling. Hottest thing rolling in the wrestling profession, let me tell you. Doug Gilbert with a chop there on Jeff.
Doug's using that fist. Got Jeff back in the corner. The referee is saying, hey, get him out of the corner. He does, but he slingshots him across the way. Look at this. Jeff brought that boot up. That'll slow Doug down. Yeah. All right, Doug's not the only one can double up a fist. Jeff hit him with that one right there to kind of even things up a bit. Out of the corner. Yeah, look at this. Jeff waiting in there after it.
Yeah. Jeff's on him. Jarrett, oh, Doug Gilbert just picks him up. Off the ropes. Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness. Jeff went after him with a clothesline. Doug ducked out of the way, and the referee was right there. That was totally unintentional on Jeff's part.
Hey, look at this. Here comes Brian Christopher. Across the chain. Doug nails Jeff Jarrett. Referee Kevin Christian still out, though.
Look across the ring. Yeah. It's Eddie Gilbert.
Doug finally woke up in there after Eddie wakes him up.
The Harris brothers have hit the ring, and Jeff Jarrett,
oh boy,
it's 2 against 1. Mike Samples has sent him in there as the Harris brothers are double teaming Jeff Jarrett.
Eddie Martin, you better get another man in here, because they're about to end Jeff Jarrett's career. Hurt that sissy. Hurt that sissy.
Hey, here comes some help. Bruno passes a metal chair to Jeff Jarrett, and all of a sudden, the Harris brothers and Brian Christopher decide it's time to get out of town. It's time for us to take a break. You stay with us, man. We got more of this to go. Stay with us. The word is out. I'll let you fill us in on it. This middleweight division. Tell me about it.
That's right. It's going to be something unreal, Dave. You know, always in the past, the USWA has been one division.
That's right.
And I've seen a lot of great 180-pound wrestlers go against, you might say, fair wrestlers that weighed like 280, 85 pounds. And naturally, the smaller guy could out-wrestle the big guy, but when he got him down, it was all over. So the board of directors and myself got together, and we instituted the middleweight division. Now, the middleweight division, if you weigh 200 pounds or more, you're in the heavyweight division.
Okay.
199 and down, you're in the middleweight division. Now, we sent out notices all over the country, and we've had great response, names from all over the country. So it was sort of surprised at that many names, so we figured the best thing we could do is take the first 8 names that came in and have a tournament. Now, the winner of this division, I can see now from the names I have in office, he will be busy, because we have challengers from all over the country. Now, like I say, the 199 down is the middleweight, and that weight you can see some action that's out of this world. So I'm real excited about it. Now, one of the big surprises to this middleweight tournament, we put it out, we put the weight division, and the 3rd name and the 5th name was lady wrestlers.
Well,
you know, I'm from the old school. I've been around a long time, and I'm an old man, a lady wrestler in a tournament. But when you stop and realize this is 1993, you pick up the newspaper, and it's a young high school girl goes out for the wrestling team. She makes the team.
Beaten, yeah, you're right.
Prior to that, young lady goes out for a high school football team. She makes the team.
Yeah.
So, like I say, it's 1993, and ladies, 199 pounds down. If you got the qualifications and you can do it, go to it. I'm all for you. Now, the first pairing in the tournament you've seen will be two ladies, and after that, one of them's going to have to wrestle a man. So
Ooh,
like
that's
I say,
right.
It's going to be an exciting event, and I'm real proud of it.
All right, Eddie, thank you. Here's Miss Texas right here. Miss Texas, you're going to be in the middleweight tournament here. This is something kind of new but exciting.
You know, Dave, I entered the middleweight division because in the women division you have Lauren Davenport and Leslie Ballinger. That's not competition. I'm a better athlete than they are. But I tell you what, I might not be able to beat all the guys, if any, but I'm going to give them a run for their money.
Well, I don't have any doubt about that. We've seen you in action there, and you got a chance right here today. You got you booked against the Shadow, so good luck to you. And I guess the new era of the middleweight division is just about to get underway right here. You know, we've talked about mixed tag team matches from time to time in a situation where when one of the women was tagged, the other one had to come into the ring.
Yeah.
But it's a new day, it's a new time, and a couple of the women wrestlers said, hey, we deserve a shot at winning the tournament, not a special ladies division and all of that. So put us in there, and you heard Eddie Marlett say it. He said, okay, that's the way it's going to be.
And that's what we got now. Miss Texas and the Shadow. Good move from Miss Texas in there, too. Takes the Shadow down. And that's the thing, it's good to see here in the USWA. And, boy, I applaud Eddie Marlin and the promotion here for giving Miss Texas the opportunity to prove herself in there and hold on.
She just run the competition out of the ring right here as the Shadow is down on the floor there. And we have seen this woman in action.
She's tough.
She is quite an athlete. She said she believes she's a better athlete than some of her competition has been in the past, and I have to agree with her. I mean, she has looked mighty good in wrestling action. She's in trouble. Whoop. Well, maybe she's not in trouble. Look at this.
Oh, Shadow wakes his fingers right across the eyes of Miss Texas. This Shadow comes in out of parts unknown, choking Miss Texas over there. Gonna be a break for Miss Texas. This mixed Miss Texas up in there, and the Shadow.
Oh goodness, he body
slams her down hard. Yeah. Stomps a boot on Miss Texas. Oh, hey, Shadow setting Miss Texas up for a pile driver in there. Whoa! But Miss Texas flips him over. Boot from Miss Texas, right hand. Nails the Shadow, takes him and whips him into the ropes. Ooh, boy, she almost took his head off with that one. That clothesline from Miss Texas. Sets the Shadow up, picks up the Shadow. Look at that. This, would you? Wow. Miss Texas picks the Shadow up, slams him down. Just with the knee, and boy, it's a harder day for the Shadow than he thought it would be. Against Miss Texas. Boy, she's up on the top rope now. Shadow out, and a big splash from Miss Texas. She got it. 1, 2, 3. Miss Texas, your winner. Boy, she's some kind of tough, let me tell you.
She is quite an athlete. She just proved it right here, not only holding her own, but winning, and winning convincingly over the Shadow. The middleweight division of the USWA, men or women, 199 pounds or less. It's a brand new division. Get ready. This one proves to be exciting. We're going to be back here with more action. Don't go away. Jeff Jarrett headed this way right here along with Richard Lee. Jeff.
Dave, I don't want to take too much of your time because this is Richard's time, but there's a lot of big things going on. Monday night, the big 6-man tag, John Gonzalez as our partner, and also Brian Christopher. I hope you watch the Memphis card because it's going to be me and you, and I finally get the Southern title shot, the rematch that I've been wanting. And Dave, I'm fixing to go right now. I'm headed toward Bolivar. There's some big matches. Corey will tell you about them in a second. But I'm going to be at Richard's Barbecue this afternoon, That is the best barbecue in West Tennessee. I'll see you in a little while, Richard.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Richard Lee, a man who's had his hair on the line before, and this week, too.
I've been there before, and I'm there again. And Mike Samples, let me tell you something, brother. I've sit back here and listened to you run your mouth and talk about how big and how bad the Harris brothers are. Well, brother, let me tell you something. My dogs have got the Southern title. They got the World Heavyweight titles. And let me tell you something. Your boys have had them, but they haven't held on to them very long, have they? Well, my dogs have held on to them for a whole year, Mike Samples, and we've gone through a lot of battles to hold them. And let me tell you what, people are going to get to see what you look like, bald-headed, boy. Bald-headed, Mike Samples, is exactly what you're going to do.
You don't have to tell me anything through a TV monitor. You tell it to my face, buddy boy.
I'll tell you anything you want to hear, buddy boy.
No, it sounds to me like you're making a big threat, and a threat is something you can't back up.
No,
because
let me tell you
I'm a
something,
tough
Mike.
man,
It's
and you're
not
just...
a threat, big boy. It's a promise. What people's going to see,
Really?
and they're going to see you bald-headed,
really?
brother,
Oh,
just
really?
like I had to
Take
do.
your hat off and show them, huh?
I'll show them anything you want
don't
to show,
push me.
boy.
I'll whip you. I've been barred from wrestling. That's how
Don't
tough
be putting your heads on me, Mike Samples, and I mean it. I've told you before, and I'm going to tell you again, don't touch me, brother.
You got bad breath. That's what I'll tell you. Dave Brown, let me show you what I'm good at. You understand? I'm going to show you something.
Mike Samples wants to know Richard.
What?
Look at Lee over there.
Look at that. Looks like he's good at getting knocked down. If you want to. Oh, look, here comes
boy.
the Harris
Yeah,
brothers
look at
out.
this kind of stuff.
Grabbing Richard Lee from behind. Now it's 3 against 1. Sure. Big man, Mike Samples. Bring the 2 6'7" wrestlers out here and have them jump Richard Lee. Throw him in the ring. Oh, boy, look at that. All 3 of them go up there after him.
Yeah, they jump Lee in there.
Oh, boy, Richard Lee down on the mat. Look at Samples jumping up and down on him. The Harris brothers, one of them picks him up. Here comes some help. Jeff Jarrett, Eddie Gilbert into the ring. Eddie grabs one of the Harris brothers, Jeff's after the other, and now all of a sudden they're out of the ring and they are frustrated. They are very frustrated that things got even all of a sudden. Hey. Samples, get him out of here. Hey, come on, guys, get out of here and leave this stuff alone. And yeah, so what he did, and you invited it. You're the one that took the first swing. Now take him out of here. Out here trying to conduct a civilized interview with Richard Lee. You come out and interfere, which might have still been okay. Then he tries to throw a punch, and then he gets upset. When he gets knocked down, calls the Harris brothers out here, and they make it 3 against 1 against Richard Lee. Richard appears to be more or less okay, being helped out of there by Jeff Jarrett and Eddie Gilbert. We've got the Harris brothers have destroyed one of the microphones here. We're trying to get that all plugged in. We've got some action coming up. I tell you, Corey, let's do this right here. Let's check the out-of-town action. Go ahead and take my microphone, and then we'll try to get this other one squared away while you're doing that, all right?
All right, indeed, USWA Championship Wrestling on tour tonight. Bolivar, Tennessee, tonight at Bolivar Central High School. 8 o'clock is the bell time. Jeff Jarrett told you he's going to be over at Richard's Barbecue this afternoon. Then they'll head over to the Bolivar Central High School tonight at 8 o'clock for USWA Championship Wrestling. Jeff Jarrett's on the card. Honky Tonk Man, Miss Texas Moondogs. Always great USWA Championship Wrestling in Bolivar, and it's again tonight, 8 o'clock, there at the Bolivar Central High School. Thursday, March 4th, Crenshaw, Mississippi. Crenshaw Gym there in Crenshaw. The King, Jerry Lawler, Honky Tonk Man's on the card. Moondogs, Miss Texas, will all be in Crenshaw, Mississippi for USWA Championship Wrestling. Last time in Crenshaw, the Harris Brothers and Moondogs fought all over the building, so it'll be a continuation of that brawl. Look out for that one, especially what happened to Richard Lee here today. Look out for Crenshaw, Mississippi coming up Thursday night. Friday, March 5th, 7:30, Forest City, Arkansas, at the Civic Center there. Miss Texas, the King, Jerry Lawler, Jeff Jarrett, Dirty Dutch Mantell, Brian Christopher, Miss Texas, all Friday night, 7:30 in Forest City, Arkansas. Another big night in Forest City, 7:30 there at the Civic Center. Sunday, March 7th, Jonesboro, Arkansas, the Old Bell Community Center down on Church Street. A big, super spectacular 7 big matches. The King, Jerry Lawler, Jeff Jarrett. Moondogs, Miss Texas, all in Jonesboro, Arkansas. 7 big matches in Jonesboro. Thursday, March 11th, 7:30 in Walnut, Mississippi, there at the Walnut High School. Jerry Lawler, Jeff Jarrett, Miss Texas, Dutch Mantell, Honky Tonk Man, Brian Christopher, and that Rock and Roll Phantom. They'll all be in Walnut, Mississippi, Thursday, March 11th. Friday, March 12th, 7:30. Ripley, Tennessee, at the Ripley High School there. Honky Tonk Man, Brian Christopher, Jerry Lawler, Jeff Jarrett, Dutch Mantell, Rock and Roll Phantom, and Miss Texas, all on that card in Ripley, Tennessee. Friday night, March 19th, Ripley, Mississippi, at the Ripley High School. And coming soon, USWA Championship Wrestling, also in Henderson, Tennessee, Brinkley, Arkansas, Brighton, Tennessee, and Ekra, Mississippi. And also, April 15th, 7:30 in Oxford, Mississippi. There at Ole Miss, the top USWA stars are going to be in Oxford. And don't forget this Monday night, 7:30 at the Mid-South Coliseum. That man right there, Mike Samples, against Richard Lee, and someone's head shaved in that one.
You've had your say. Now, what do you want again?
Yeah.
You come out here interrupting in Richard Lee's interview.
Yeah, I know. But Dave Brown, I'm not going to stand in the back and watch you monitor and let some punk like Richard Lee talk bad about me and make threats to me. Me and the Bruise Brothers are the people that control this wrestling. You understand that?
No, you don't.
We're the ones that the people come to see. These people today came to see the Bruise Brothers, and they came to see Mike Samples. They didn't want to hear Richard Lee. But now it's hair versus hair. See, you know, a couple weeks ago it was my hair, and I didn't lose it. Last week it was Richard's hair, and you know he didn't lose it because he was out here with it. Well, this week now, somebody's got to get their hair cut.
No time limit, no DQ, some hair's going to fall.
And you know that lady that comes every week and she sits there with the clippers and she's just itching to cut somebody's hair? Well, this week she's going to get to do it. But I'm going to promise you, I said a couple weeks ago, never would I be worried about my hair. And I'm not, because Ron and Don Harris, you saw them, they're fired up. They're mad, and I would hate so badly to be in the ring against two men that were as mean and as tough and as fired up as they are. Those bunks, those big fat pukes, the moon hogs, Richard Lee, they don't have a chance. And that lady with ringside clippers there, she's going to come in, and it's just going to be, and Richard Lee will not have any hair, and the moon dogs, they'll be dead.
And foreign parts, bumper-to-bumper body parts, used and rebuilt engines and transmissions. They also specialize in both new and used glass replacement for all makes and models of cars and trucks. For steering column and theft repair, Dennis Hall's guarantees the lowest prices in Memphis.
Hi, I'm Chris, Real Deal Coffee. For the best prices in town, come on down.
Dave Thomas is making a new chicken sandwich for his favorite customer, his daughter Wendy. Introducing Wendy's Monterey Ranch Chicken, a whole breast filet topped with cheese, but not just any cheese, Monterey Jack. Then he whipped up her favorite dressing, creamy ranch loaded with bacon. It was so good, he kind of hated to give it away.
Wendy, it's ready. Oh, well, I guess I'll have to eat it myself.
Try Wendy's new Monterey Ranch Chicken Sandwich.
Dad, is it ready yet?
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Then you should call Mid-South Insurance Office.
Mid-South Insurance Office cut the down payment on my car insurance in half.
Mid-South saved me $40 a month on my payment.
Mid-South gave me immediate coverage so I could buy a new car.
Mid-South Insurance Office has been here in Memphis for over 50 years. I know they'll be here when I need them.
Even if you have tickets, accidents, or a DUI, call Mid-South Insurance Office today at 276-6388.
Well, we got this PG-13 team coming in here, and they've got a match scheduled. Before they go to the ring, I hope they would come around and maybe we can get a word or two from them. Here they come, the hip-hop team, PG-13.
Well, Dave Brown is what y'all been looking for. It's PG-13 in the house, homies. Yo, what's up, Coy, bro? Give me some skin, my man. What's happening, brother? You know, Corey, look at Oreo cooking something on me. But you know, we here to talk about this middleweight tournament. You know, it's like we lightweight, we heavyweight, we in between weight, we middle. Matter of fact, we can't wait, bro. PG-13 is what's up in 1993. You tell them what's up with us,
I'm
look, man.
just telling that after we get done with that middleweight, boy, we're going straight to the tag team championship.
PG-13 is in the house, bro. Yeah. Come on, Corey, show me this rhythm, brother.
Well, they're entered in the middleweight tournament as single wrestlers, and they say whichever one of them wins that, then straight to tag teams. Is that what they said? I expect those non-middleweights like the Bruise Brothers and the Moondogs.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I haven't seen this group in action. You have, Corey, in the arenas, but boy.
Let me tell you, they could be a good team, but the tactics they use and all of this stuff, boy, it makes you look at that. They're so cocky. Well, as soon as you ring the bell, that's what that kind of stuff.
That's Wolfie D starting, right? Against T.D. Steele.
T.D. Steele with a little warm-up exercise beforehand and tangles up with Wolfie D of PG-13. Backs him up against the turnbuckles. And
oh, it's going to be that kind of match, huh? Had him back, clean move back in the turnbuckles, and all of a sudden from PG-13 we hear, oh, he pulled my hair. He was pulling my hair.
And when you look at this wrestling attire that PG-13 comes in with in here, street clothes, you mean? TD, look at this reversal. Oh, whips Wolfie D in. Big backdrop from TD Steele. Oh, look at TD. Comes back with a clothesline. Good takedown on JC Ice from TD Steele. And PG-13 said, wait a minute.
They're out here trying to call timeout.
Yeah.
I don't think they understand. T.D. Steele, boy, he's not backing up, is he? He's trying to get around the referee and get his hands on J.C. Ice, he calls himself, Jamie Dundee, and now T.D. makes the tag on Bill Rush.
Rush comes in and slams down on that left arm of J.C. Ice, drops down on it. Bill Rush in the ring, and oh, look at J.C. Ice. Looked like he was going for a pick. Oh! Says he pulled his tights in there.
No, I was watching that closely. He didn't do it. That was a nice takedown by Bill Rush.
Good move from Bill. Oh, boy. PG-13, they're in the USWA. Heard a lot about them, and they're here today on Championship Wrestling, and boy, Wolfie D slamming down and belling away on Bill Rush in there. Slams down on Rush with another right hand.
Oh, look out. Over the top rope goes Bill Rush. Referee didn't see it.
Yeah, but Rush.
He was thrown over the top rope. His wrist hung in the ropes, and Wolfie D then shoved him on down to the floor. Now, what is this?
Look at this. Dundee comes off.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, boy. J.C. Ice.
A slingshot by Wolfie D. He slung Jamie Dundee over the rope down onto Bill Rush, who was down on the floor. Look out, Bill
Look
Rush.
at this. Oh, boy. Wolfie D got up on that top rope, yeah. What a move. Oh, look at this. Goes for the cover.
He put a backflip on him, yeah, then broke the cover to go over to take a shot at T.D. Steele. Look out, they double team. Referee trying to send T.D. back out.
But, well, I told you, Dave, a few weeks ago that these guys, they're a tough team. They can wrestle, but the kind of tactics they use in it, all of this stuff, make you not like them at all. PG-13. And J.C. Ice drops down with an elbow on Bill Rush. That's until the expiration of time here today, and Rush flipped over from J.C. Ice, and he drops the leg on Bill Rush. He covers him there now. 1, 2, jumps up and goes over and nails T.D. Steele. Boy, T.D. upset about it, too. And no tag. Wolfie D just jumps in there and nails away on Bill Rush.
Yeah, they've done that a couple of times during the match. They don't bother to tag. They just change out.
PG-13. PG-13. And Wolfie D picks up Bill Rush. He's got him over there. Dundee picks up that hubcap that they bring in the ring. He nailed Rush right in the back of the head with it, too. Boy, now see, that's the kind of stuff you talk about. Had Rush already been earlier, just want to humiliate Bill Rush. Nails him with a piece of that hubcap that they bring in the ring. And PG-13 gets the 1, 2, 3.
But you saw how they did it. Let's take a break. We'll be back with USWA action still to come. Well, PG-13 gets themselves a victory here today on USWA Championship Wrestling. They are going to be wrestling not as a tag team, but as single wrestlers come Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum. This is a big night coming up. We were just checking here, and Corey, you count 11 matches on the card?
11 of them.
7:30 is when it all starts, and we're going to begin with the middleweight tournament. Eddie Marlin out here making the announcement. Now, think about it. Now, the guys that we all had in that match just a moment ago, they would all be considered middleweight wrestlers.
Yeah.
They're fast. They really don't have much of a chance when they're going against a guy that weighs 280 pounds. They're faster usually than the big wrestlers, but once the big guy is able to get them down, it's easier for him to hold them down. So you put them in that weight category, 199 pounds or less, and you got yourself the makings of some excitement, especially when you throw in another wrinkle or two. And that would be the fact that women are allowed to compete for the middleweight title. Men's division, women's division, all together. Opening first round match of the night, we're going to have Danny Davis going against Wolfie D. And by the way, I'm not sure which order the first round matches will go in, but let me tell you what all 4 of the first round matches are. Danny Davis against Wolfie D. Master of Terror will be going against Chris Michaels. Aaron Hatchett goes against Jamie Dundee. And Ms. Texas will go against Leslie Bellinger. Now, that's a woman against a woman, but as Eddie Marlin pointed out, in the semifinal match, that means that one of the women is going to be going against a male wrestler. And that'll be the first time for that in tournament action. Semifinal matches number 1 and number 2, followed by the finals of the middleweight tournament. Miss Texas, we saw here today in action against the Shadow, and she proved she can handle herself well. Look at her come off that top rope right there. And that was it. The Shadow was out of it from that point on. A count of 1, 2, 3 falls. Miss Texas left here victorious today. And I think even more than that, I think very convincing that especially when you have the middleweight category, that she is very well going to be able to hold her own in that division. She looked mighty good in that victory here today. Then, all right, after the semifinals and then the winner of the 2 semifinals go to the finals, you got this grudge match coming up. And boy, this one, especially after what's going on today, Eddie Gilbert and Doug Gilbert, it just seems that they're not able to get it settled. And when this thing first started, I got to tell you, Doug Gilbert came out here and he was saying Eddie's always late and he didn't show up and all that sort of thing.
Kind of believed him.
I believed him. I was right there with Doug, and I said, well, you know, maybe you're right, Doug, that, you know, Eddie's just irresponsible. And then come to find out, when Eddie comes in and tells his side of the story, the reason he was late is because Doug didn't pick him up. He left and all of that sort of thing. And Eddie says Doug is just jealous of the entire situation. And every now and then when they were kids, Eddie said Doug would just keep picking at him till finally he had to bear down and put him back in his place. And he says that's what he's going to have to do come Monday night. Eddie says I got to bear down and take care of Doug, get him thinking straight again, and that'll last for at least a little while. Brother against brother, Eddie Gilbert against Doug Gilbert in the grudge match Monday night. Southern title will be on the line then. Jeff Jarrett, he has wanted this return match. You know, he had to wait forever to get a match with Brian Christopher for the title, and then won it. Wasn't able to keep it long because of some interference from outside the ring and what have you, but he gets another chance this time. Jeff Jarrett will be going against the Southern title holder, Brian Christopher. Christopher, of course, with Bert Prentice over in his corner. The hair match. Hair against hair, no time limit, no disqualification, no stopping the match. Folks from the Perfect Cut are going to be there, clippers in hand, ready to shave somebody's head, either Richard Lee's or Mike Samples. Moondogs with Richard Lee going against Ron and Don Harris, the Bruise Brothers, with Mike Samples in their corner. Samples says, I'm not worried. These guys are big. These guys are tough. I don't know if he's paying attention or not, but the Moondogs won last time around, and if they win Monday night, then Mr. Samples is going to find himself with a haircut. That's not all. Main event of the night. This one should be something else.
This one,
the Brian Christopher and the Bruise Brothers with Mike Samples, 6-man match. It'll be Lawler Jarrett, and Giant Gonzalez coming in with downtown Bruno. He's 8 feet tall. It should be an exciting night at the Mid-South Coliseum. Make your plans to be there. Make your plans to be back here with us next week. Till then, for Corey Macklin, I'm Dave Brown. So long, everybody.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of USWA Championship Wrestling.